KIYA Podcast would like to acknowledge that this episode was recorded on Whadjuk land of the Noongar people. We recognise our First Nations people as the traditional custodians of the land, and we pay our respects to the elders past, present and future. KIYA Wanju, hello and welcome to the KIYA Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in, whether you're tuning in on Spotify or whether you're listening and watching us on YouTube. Thank you so much. All the love and support is appreciated. So we have a very special guest. We actually have a champion in the building today. Well, two champions, not just me, Alex as well. He's definitely a bigger champion than I am. So the day after we recorded this episode, Alex was actually announced as the WBC number 2 and IBF number 8 world strawweight. So that is, big congratulations and big ups to Alex for that. It's a huge achievement, not only for him, but for us Noongar people as well in 2023. In this episode, we actually touch on what it was like for him, going through that journey of working and training and actually being at the door of success and knocking on that door for a number of years. Because as you guys know, when you're right there and putting your heart and soul into something, it's so easy to just give up, and we talk about those conflictions and actually trusting the process. We talk about setbacks as well. So the 2016 Rio Olympics, the 2018 Commonwealth Games, and then Alex getting his shot in the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, and what an amazing thing that is to not only represent Indigenous people, but represent his country on the world stage in Tokyo. So we talk a little bit about that. So I'm very excited for you guys to listen in to this episode, wherever you're listening from, whether that's Spotify or YouTube. Make sure you rate us 5 stars if you really like it. I mean, if you don't like it, I don't know, rate us 2 stars, 3 stars, whatever. Whatever the rating is, who cares? Just make sure you do that for us and show us some love and support. Turn your notifications on for this episode if you really like it, and make sure you follow us on all your socials. I obviously have to pay some bills here, so thank you to Jilla for sponsoring us. Jilla is a purely Indigenous water company, so they was kind enough to supply the water for me and my guest here today, so make sure you check them out. Thank you so much. Yeah, enjoy. Well, thank you for joining me here today. Just to introduce you to everyone, we've got Alex Winwood here. I believe your rankings have just gone up since your last fight. So you're now ranked WBC 12? IBF
8th. WBC hasn't been updated this month, so still 12th. But we'll kind of just wait for it.
Oh, wicked. So just obviously after that last fight, like how's the body feeling? How are you feeling? Mentally wise, how's that all going?
Yeah, it's been a bit crazy, like the last few weeks. Even just kind of getting home, trying to settle in, but not being able to train properly and things like that since then. But I felt pretty good. Pulled up all right, but yeah, just like them little small injuries and things, whatever else. So it was a long training camp, and just need to kind of take the moment to relax, but start looking forward to see what's in the future, and go from there really.
Yeah, that's it. And how do you manage those little injuries? Because sometimes the smallest thing can just get you down. And do you kind of have any secret sauce on how to pick yourself back up, or no. how do you sort of manage yourself?
I just think it comes down to just knowing your body and knowing when you've done bit too much or whatever, or if you're on the borderline, especially after a fight, I always feel like I'm about to get sick, so I'll take a little bit of time, because I've wrecked my body so much that I'm pretty sure I fought Friday night, Monday morning I just started coughing all week. It was I was just holding out just enough, and then straight after the fight I was like, oh, my body kind of relaxing.
So it's like a big relief thing, it's all right, it's time your body kind of telling you to reset. Straight after the fight. Yeah. Yeah,
exactly. So it's I guess it just comes with a couple of years of few years of experience, and training for one fight is it's like a whole preseason. Just for one game, and then you just do the one game. You're like, oh, and then that in a couple of weeks it's gonna start up again. So,
yeah. That's it. And I think one of the, the craziest thing is about the fight game is you kind of have to prepare for it to go the length,
Yeah.
to go the length of the fight. And then obviously if you're cutting the fight short, getting the win in the second round, third, fourth round, those early rounds, it's kind of like, fuck, I just put myself through all these months of training.
100%. That's how I felt in my first fight, because like in the amateurs you don't get many stoppages, and I only had like I think 2 stoppages in the amateurs, and only one was like the second round or whatever. So
So
I think
how many amateur fights did you have before you turned?
57 or 56, something like that. Yeah, like there's not a huge amount in terms of numbers, but like if I was heavier or something, I probably would have ended up having 80 or 90 fights.
But like it's a fair bit. Like, there's a lot of fighters that are, because you're only 26, aren't you?
Yeah.
20. So there's a lot of fighters that are 26 with only like a handful of fights.
Yeah.
Underneath their belt in amateurs as well. So having 50 plus fights, that's freaking wicked.
Yeah, it's hard to get fights out here. Like if you're overseas, you're fighting maybe twice or 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Like I went to England. That's how they do it. They have like fights on like Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, and you just have to drive to a town that's like 2 hours away.
And they already got them lined up.
Yeah, and it's just like you get there, and then they jump in, they have a fight, and then all right, they might have a day off, and then they go fight again. It's just crazy.
Nah, that's wicked. Well, I guess sharks are born swimming, so that's the best sort of training you can get. Just get in there and have a smash. Unlike you just got to go to Northbridge and you'll get a free match up.
Sure.
Oh no! So, you just mentioned you went to you was in England doing some training and some fighting there. Where's some other places that sort of boxing has kind of taken you?
Far out. Pretty much anywhere I've been is almost for boxing. Like, I don't think I've went to a country without boxing, to be honest. One of like the weirdest places, probably a place in the Middle East, is called Azerbaijan. I don't really know even where to describe where it is. It's just like somewhere in the middle of nowhere, and I think they're like a real wealthy country, but everyone's poor, if that makes sense. So I got there and it was like there's a lot of buildings and stuff there, but everyone was poor, and they're like super famous, like super wealthy from gas oil. So as we're flying in, you can see all the bloody gas stations across the water, and then I'd never heard about this place, but when we got there, then like the F1 was there that week. Chris Brown was performing there that week. It was just like, I was like, who knows about this country? Yeah, it was mental.
So they had 2 of the most light-skinned followers on earth in the same place in the same
exactly.
week.
Yeah.
You and Chris Brown.
Yeah, sure was.
Oh no, that's wicked. And for the lead up, because we just touched on it before about your most recent fight in Perth. Killer fight, by the way. Like, that was wicked. I was talking to another ex-coach of mine that was at the fight, and he said like it was electric as soon as you stepped in the ring. For that fight, was you Vegas that you kind of built up where you did your fight camp before coming over, or was it just like working a few kinks out?
No, it was mainly Vegas. I think I trained for about 13 weeks or something, all up. Did like the first 3 or 4 weeks, New South Wales at my gym. And then my gym partners, they was having fights in Vegas, so I went over with them, and I was there just shy of 6 weeks, I think. And when I got back home, it was probably like 3 weeks out, so it was like just kind of the perfect timing just to get back, adjust to the time clock, and then get over here and train like the last, just the week of the fight, really. So, but Vegas was like just unreal. It was just packs of sparring and hanging around like all the big shots and this and that, and like just kind of seeing all the world champions in one gym. It was pretty crazy.
No, that's wicked. And you kind of got to like immerse yourself in that in that world to really come back and have that mindset of like, I'm the shit. This is what I've just gone and done. Remember. Obviously, you remember where you come from, but then you're like, all right, I got to remember what I'm actually doing and walk in with that confidence in the ring. Hey.
Yeah, definitely. Like, there's been a couple of moments where like Olympics was one, and then this was another where like I realised I was in the same gym as, all the people on TV getting paid millions and, headlining events and this and that. And it's like, all right, well, at the end of the day, he's just a boxer in a boxing gym, same as me. So, and we're at the same gym. So,
Yep. So you're just right there knocking on the door.
yeah, exactly right. It's just a matter of perspective, really. And it probably isn't until you're in them situations that your perspective changes and, confidence comes with that.
So did, obviously with COVID and everything happening, being a part of that 2020 Olympics would have been like really special, and for some people that's a like the peak of their accomplishments on their own. Just making it to the Olympics, not only as a Indigenous fellow, but and a Perth boy, but
Yeah.
Making it to the Olympics, representing your country, is freaking wicked. But you've gone, it's 2023 now. You've gone on and still got that fire in your belly. So that's something I got to take my hat off to.
Nah, I appreciate that.
And vocalize, because that's freaking wicked. To be able to do that. What was that? Did you stay in the Olympic Village?
Yeah, I
Why
did.
was there?
I think I was there for about just over a week, maybe a week and a half, and then I went home at the start of the second week of the games. Well, not home. I went back to the Darwin Detention Centre or the Darwin whatever COVID centre, and spent 2 weeks there, and then flew back home. So yeah.
No, that would have been wicked. Obviously staying with the most elite athletes from representing their country would have been just a crazy environment. Just who you talk to, like when you're eating or whatever, like that would have been wicked. And one thing that I don't think a lot of people know is your journey from the Rio 2016 Olympics. Obviously just falling a little bit shy from that, but like I said before, is that drive, that motivation kept you going, and then you got to push through to the 2020 Olympics. What was that sort of time frame like between 2016 2020 in terms of training?
It was a lot of bumpy roads. It's just like up and down, and probably almost pulled the pin on it like a few times. Like just not getting decisions that I knew I should have, and things like that, and just like you're pouring your heart and soul into it, and boxing's just so unforgiving that it's not like a season that you kind of like, if you lose one week, you get in there the next week. It's like you're only as good as your last performance. And for me, there was 1 year that I think I lost like 6 or 7 fights locally in Perth, out of 8 or 9 bouts that I fought that year. And I was really kind of started resenting the sport and just like didn't know what I had to do. I was like, look, I felt like if I got hit one time, that they've given the other guy the fight, and I had to box his perfect style to win a simple bout that I knew I was winning anyway. So there was a couple of real hard, challenging moments that like was really pretty much character defining moments for me over them couple of years, and I stuck around and just kind of grinded through them hard times, and in the meantime went to 2 world championships, and then didn't get the opportunity to even try box for Australia at the Commonwealth Games when it was in Gold Coast. That was another point.
This is 2018?
Yeah, that was 2018. I was pretty dirty at that point. It's like, I've felt like I've paid my dues a little bit at that point to be recognised and get given a shot, but they made the call whatever they made, and I wasn't allowed to go. And then I was almost once again pulled the pin in boxing. It was like, oh, what do you have to do? Like, you're not getting paid for it at the amateur level.
Yep.
So you're pretty like, my whole life was based around boxing, and my work schedule was based around boxing. I'm like, this isn't bringing any money in.
What was you working at the same time? Like,
I think at first I started off as like in retail and just at a sporting shop, and then I got into the trade construction sites, and then that was 2018, and when everyone was going away to like the Commonwealth Games and fighting, I remember just like being on site as a painter or even as a plaster's labourer at the time, and just looking at my phone and watching all the people like have their wins or their losses, and just like knowing that I should have
Like,
been
I can
there.
do this shit.
Yeah,
Like,
and I was just like, just a bit angry at the time. I'm like, I'm at this fucking work site here, and like shouldn't be here, blah blah blah. But yeah, it was time. Really, them points is now what I look back on and just go like, yeah, like I know that I have what it takes, and I'm not going to be back in that position. I'm going to make sure like I've willed myself to be here. So
yeah, that's it. It's character. It's character defining those sorts of
100%.
moments. Like, and it would have been so much easier to just give up. It would have been so much easier to just been like, you know what, I'm gonna be like everybody else. Fuck this.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna, I'm gonna relax. I'm gonna get fat or whatever.
Yeah, and I think it happens so much faster for boxers. Like, when I used to play footy, I didn't really care for food, but now like I reckon I've got like, well, we all have eating disorders now. Like, because when you're making weight and that, all my Instagram, the For You page is just people cooking.
Yeah.
Or just some like pizza or sweets and someone baking, and I'm like,
yeah.
And now I've just been like the last week just clicking on random things like, I went on, typed up Chat GPT, and I'm trying to like and save as much stuff, so then it comes up on my For You.
Yeah.
Because I'm sick of seeing all these things, and I'm like, either I got to delete this because I can't withstand it. I'm like, I'm trying to like, get my diet back to normal, and I'm seeing all these people eating pizzas.
And it sticks with you, I don't know.
Yeah,
like when you see it, you're like, because I've been craving bloody cinnamon rolls for the last like 3 days because I've seen a bloody video of someone cooking them, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, it's bloody terrible. So, but yeah,
was that sort of challenging? Coming into being a professional with being precise with your weight and cutting weight. Like, have you ever had to do a really hard cut or
not like this. I've always made weight pretty well, but like as an amateur, what's the weight difference? The weight difference is probably like almost 5 kilos. That like when I went to the Olympics, I was fighting at. So I was fighting at 52 kilos. Now my last fight was at 47.6. So it's a big difference. And even at 52, like, I thought I was making it pretty hard back then, but I really wasn't. I was just like the last week or two, I'd kind of eat a little bit less or whatever, and then do a bit of a sweat and make it. But now like it's like 10, 12 weeks of sticking to a diet to get the weight down as much as possible, and then the last week's like you're dropping your last 2 or 3 kilos. Like,
is that like, are you in the sauna with that? Or are you just like running and counting your calories?
Last week, so I've been going through a nutrition company called the Fight Dietitian. They do like Alex Volkanovski, all the UFC champs and that. They're pretty big like in the combat scene in Australia and worldwide actually. They've got some good little tips and tricks like weight manipulation in the last week, where it's like you probably up your calories and you're not eating, cut out carbs, and you go to like a keto diet essentially.
Oh yeah.
And you're not having
so just high fats, a lot of protein.
Yeah, high fats, high protein, and then you're like then you're cutting back like anything that will hold water. So you're not having any salt, you're not having any fiber, and that there does help you piss out like excess water and all that. Yeah, it's not till like the last. Then you're probably just not eating 24 hours before weigh-in, and in that last few hours, if you have weight to cut, then that's where you do like your last sauna session or whatever.
And do you smash feed straight after the weigh-in?
Yeah, so that they even give you like a plan to rehydrate and like how much fluids and that you can tolerate, but like how much fluids that you should be having and what food you should be eating like immediately after and whatever else. So it was really interesting to go through that in the last one. So yeah.
Is that something you reckon you're gonna carry on? Because that's a lot of what a lot of people don't really see when it comes to professional athletes is the behind the scenes stuff that you're doing. Like your recovery, like your diet. Like we said before, managing like micro injuries and mental health at the same time. So all these, it's crazy how all these little things, like we said, coming from post 2016 Olympics, all these little things have kind of built that what do you call it, like that character
Yeah.
in today. So now it's just like another something more to add to the bag. Like, all right, I got my
100%.
diet. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's wicked. So how'd you kind of get into boxing? Because, we know a lot of Noongars have been, a lot of families are quite renowned for tent boxing, back in the day.
Yeah.
Is that kind of an inspiration that kind of came with it, or was it like Ali, like someone stole your bike and you was like, nah, I'm jumping in the gym?
No, it was my coach used to he wanted to find boxers. He had a backyard gym, and he used to be an assistant at the PCYC, and then it was like he retired from his job and had his own gym, and he wanted his own boxers, and started going to like the local high schools and that there, and just offering out free boxing classes to if the school would take it, and mine was one of them, and I went and did a couple of sessions with him and things like that, and then kind of seen him on the school holidays when I was riding around on my skateboard, and he asked me if I can come to the gym, just come over here and have a look at it, and so I did, and pretty much never left.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I went there twice a week, and I was playing footy at the time, so I was training footy Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was boxing Tuesdays and Thursdays, and like footy training I liked, boxing was just way too hard, and I was like just dreaded Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yeah.
Like, straight after school, I'm like, I don't want to go do this.
Mm-hmm.
This is hard.
Yeah.
Like I thought, like footy preseason was hard. It's just like this was preseason.
This is preseason.
Tuesdays and Thursdays was like this sucks. But yeah, like then I started to spar and whatever else, and as I started to spar, the more days I picked up in boxing rather than footy, and I think I finished that footy season and was coming into the next one, and my coach just says, all right, either you play footy or you box, make your mind up, and yeah, so then I was like, well, might as well choose boxing. I've won a few fights and I enjoy it, and yeah, then I just didn't realise how gangbusters it was going to go. Like I think the year after was like my first state team that I made, and in terms of AFL, like I tried to make a state team, and there was like hundreds and hundreds of kids trying, and it was just like, I probably would never made it, even if like I thought I was pretty talented, but it was just I didn't have the frame for it. And then boxing just kind of suited me, and I was fighting people my size, and then getting on a state team, I'm like, wow, this is sick, because I knew how hard it was to make like other sports state teams, and so I mean, if I'm doing this in my first like 8 months, far out, might as well stick to this.
Just imagine where you can go down the road. How old was you when you made the state team?
I think I was 17 or just shy of 17.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then got to go to Queensland like for the first time, and got away with the team, and then a few months later, then I went as a senior, and got to go back to the same place, and that's when I started the Rio Olympic process. Yeah.
No, that's wicked. And so boxing kind of stole your heart from footy, eh?
Yeah, because footy was like my love and passion. Like I loved it, and for me to have to give it up was like it was a big deal. It felt like the world was ending when he presented that question. I was like, oh mate, I don't want to. I was like, I want to be an AFL player, but really glad I didn't try to pursue that.
Yeah. I mean, well, you got one of these now, so that might compensate the AFL journey for a little bit. No, that's wicked. Far out, that's heavier than what I thought it would be. Damn.
Yeah. And my mate's got like a WBA world title. And it's bigger, and when you pick his up, it's like fuck.
You're using all your forearms.
Yeah. And to see an actual world title was like it's hectic.
But man, even trying to hold this up, trying to hold it up after a fight when your arms are bloody fatigued, if that adrenaline wears off, them triceps might get a little bit. Yeah, Oh no, that's wicked. So what's in store? What's in store next for you? So obviously, you've kept that fire, in your belly of it when things, aren't going right. Like I myself know exactly, as you're talking, know exactly how that feels being, one night you're going to be like, nah, stuff this, I'm quitting. Yeah. I'm sick of this. I put my heart into it and I'm, barely getting any return on investment back. And then, the next week it's like, all right, things are going great. I'm feeling good. and all that. So what's next? You know, things are going good, but you know, obviously I can kind of tell you still got that fire in you.
Yeah, so like hopefully we start by the end of the year look to lock in an opponent, maybe December or something like that, and what do you call it? Just kind of put ourselves in a position that at the start of next year that they fight for what they call a title eliminator. So either 1 and 2 or 1 and 3 or someone in the top 3 would have to fight someone in the top 4. Then to be a mandatory fight for a world title. Midway through next year, which usually would take someone like maybe 10 fights, maybe 18 fights, something like that. But it's easy enough to say that you have like the skill to go with it, but it's also like hard to get opportunities for people to take them fights, and fights are quite expensive. Like I haven't made any money, and I've paid out a lot of money, so it's like going from the amateurs where it's just like just worry about the fight and that's it, to this, it's like it's a different animal, and it's quite stressful on them sides because like all you want to do is focus on being a boxer, but yeah, there's like you're pretty much like if you're playing a basketball team, like you are LeBron, but you're also the Lakers. You have to manage everything behind the scenes. Which
so there's that whole professionalism that comes with it. Yeah,
and it's something that like you know a lot of boxers aren't that smart. You know, I'm not that intelligent, but so it's like you know you're going into like a world where you're not really adapt to it and kind of have to take on these responsibilities and whatever else. And I think that's where a lot of fellas you've seen in the past that like they've just fallen short of that, those behind the scenes things, and really do get messed over and, you know, taken advantage of and things like that. So that's why I'm just trying to position myself around with the best team and people that, you know, have my best interests and things like that. So
like it's a learning process, isn't it? Like you kind of take in all those little things and learn as much as you can and ask the right questions as they come to you.
Yeah.
In terms of like the business side of things like that, like that's kind of the most one of the most hardest things is getting comfortable, as they say, like in the room.
Yeah.
Like when you're in the room having those conversations.
Yeah.
And so that's something that you're starting to learn now, or is that something?
Like each fight's just like there's something new to be added, and one thing that like I've realized is that if I don't know the knowledge, I'm going to go hire someone that is, you know, knows more than me in that. So I feel
and
like
then you learn off them, eh?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, and then, you know, if maybe like accountants, like I don't need to know everything, but he's told me like you need to know enough. So when you are hearing things, you understand what's going on. But he's like, in terms of, you know, the ins and outs of it, he goes, that's up to me. Like that's his job. But you know, it's things like that, or like even in terms of like managing boxing it's pretty hectic because it's like if you say no to an opportunity, that opportunity's gone, and then you don't know like whether that opens up another door or if all doors are shut for a while. So it's like my manager's like really good with that because there's just things change so often, and there's a lot of, as they say, politics in boxing, like money talks, and there's a lot of big promoters and things like that out in the world, and you know if they want one boy push through or something, they'll start putting big money to like put you on the back burner or like put you in a situation where, you know, you might not be able to certainly beat someone or something like that. Like like I've seen that happen to people that I know and things like that, and even when like, you know, world titles and that they're getting thrown around and stuff, like I've seen one of my mates starting to get locked into a mandatory fight where he's not meant for a mandatory fight. It's meant to be allowed to have a voluntary fight, and they get to fight for whoever they want. But there's some big money pushing to the side, and then the people behind the scenes are saying, "All right, you need to take this fight." So
so kind of having the people around you that, you know, have your best interests in heart, not like the short term, the short term game. Really have that long term and actually are in it for you, like to support you, not just, you know, for the sport. So that's something that pretty much is a dime a dozen, is finding those people, and especially the ones that are going to stick with you.
Yeah, exactly. Some people, they just look at you as a, bit of money in their pocket, really.
Yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
and some people are getting sold out real cheap. People get messed over for like $100.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like there's not, especially at this level, and in Perth and in Australia especially, like people aren't getting paid very well. Like some people are getting paid like, a few $1,000, like 10 grand or something like that. But and which isn't a huge amount of money because they're working 3 months for one fight. So it's like 3 months. It's like $3,000 a month. It's not a lot of money.
No.
And so like and then they might not even see that 10 grand.
Yeah. Yeah, because then it's got to get split up to the people.
Yeah, like they'll go, oh yeah, blah blah blah, and then I've had mates been calling around and things like that. It's like, asking their opponent, did you get paid? And then they're going, yeah, I got paid. Did you not get paid?
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen the money. It's like far out, man. Like so it's pretty nasty. Like sport in the background if you don't have the right people around you. And like I said, like boxers aren't smart, and if we were, we probably wouldn't be boxing. To be honest, so yeah, like it's the nature of it. It's like the history of it all, kind of
and that's it. It's kind of take the rounds as they come, take the hits as they come. Hey, yeah. So if something shady does happen, it's like, all right, what can I do next time to make sure that it doesn't happen again? Or shit, I know not to work with that person. I know not to work with that motherfucker again.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that's it. So, obviously, being like a cutthroat business and all that. What is a typical day? Because I between now and December, you've got kind of a bit of time. What is the sort of days looking like for you in terms of recovering and training and?
Yeah, so at the moment, just like, what have I been doing? Maybe like a run, swim or bike at one time a day, and then go down, like I train boxing in the morning, so go down there, been doing a bit of strength stuff and punch with my like one arm and things like that, and we play ping pong a lot at my gym.
Oh yeah.
So like either we're playing games on the ping pong table, or we've got a ping pong machine that spits the balls at you and you for the back. So either it's like,
so you got like a shooting machine, but
so it's like, and my coach is real anal about it. He's like, get on the ping pong machine.
Yeah.
And then he's like, stand on a, you know what a boso ball is, eh? Yeah, he's like, stand on the boso ball and do the ping pong machine, or
oh no,
or the little one where it's like a wooden roller and you got like, it's like a surfboard balancing. And
yeah.
He's like, well, get on that there and do the ping pong. Yeah. And then he'll make you do like a whole, like while everyone's doing boxing rounds, you got to do that there for like the 10 rounds instead.
Yeah.
And then like, either spits out on one side or he puts it on different ones, so it's douche, yeah.
So it's fun at first, and then
after. He took the fun out of it. Yeah. It's like, all right, put two in your hand so you alternate hands.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No, that's wicked. So you're a morning person, so you train in the morning.
Yeah, so we like gym starts 7:30 and there's no end time, which is great. It's just like whenever you finish, like because we might start with ping pong and then we get into a session whatever, and you're not walking out to like 10:30 or whatever. But yeah, it's got a great atmosphere there, and then in the afternoons we do our second session, whether it's like the run or for me at the moment like bike ride or a swim, because it's a bit better on like the joints and whatever else. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And you guys, are you guys a close knit with your team, with your fight team? Because I know a couple of people that's in the fighting business, and they kind of just go into the gym, see their team, mainly talk to their coaches, and they're out. Are you guys more of like a community base there, or are you more like self-managed because everyone's kind of got their own targets they're trying to hit?
No, like we all do hang around like at time to time, and everyone does have like their own fight coming up. So maybe sometimes like right now, if someone's training for like their fight that's in 3 weeks, they're going to be doing probably pretty full on training in the afternoon. So like when they ask me to come for sprints, I'll go, nah, mate,
Yeah,
go do
you
that by
good, brother.
yourself.
You good,
It's like I didn't see anyone around when I was doing all my sprints
Yeah,
and
yeah.
whatever else. So
You're like, God, look at the time. It's 10:30 already.
so yeah, but like well, there's a few boys at the gym that like, I try to get around as much as possible because I've got no family out there. It's just me and my fiance living together. So yeah, like they've taken us in open arms and made us feel like family because everyone's pretty much moved from somewhere to come to this gym. So
Yeah.
no one really has family around there. So yeah, like we all have barbecues and whatever together.
Do you find that easier to train? Like I know, obviously when I was in New York playing basketball for a bit, I found it a lot easier to stay kind of focused and, it's kind of like, all right, I'm here for a purpose. Do you find that easier being away from home and training? Cause
Yeah, to a degree. Like even when like the last few years that I was in Perth, like I was pretty much like just filled my schedule so much that I didn't have time to like really go see like I'd pop see mum after the gym some nights, but didn't really see too many people. But now like it's like to even more extensive degree, like so yeah, like I do like when we're going into like these more like kind of training based focused time periods, like time just goes everywhere and you just get to lock in on one thing,
yeah, that's it. And just stay focused, and it's kind of like your family, they obviously love and support everything that you're doing, and understand that, all right, that you're there for a reason. That's what you want to do with your life. So they give you that love and support, from afar, and that kind of just keeps you motivated.
Yeah, it's just like if anyone was working a job or whatever, and you hadn't heard from them for a few weeks because they've just been flat out work. That's essentially the same thing.
Yeah,
people don't understand. I've had to explain this to my mom just because like I know that you think this is boxing. I was like, this is my job. Like at the fights, that's my job. That's my office. Like so whatever you do at my office, that's like me coming in your work site screaming and shouting.
Yeah.
It's like
so unless you want me to do that,
yeah, exactly. So I might, it does like it's exciting, and I know everyone's like happy and whatever else is like, but like there's certain people that like I was like say like my immediate family, like you just need to like understand that I look at you as like you need to be professional for me. I was like, I don't, my mate's not there, whatever else, but like it's like yeah, there could be someone in the crowd that might want to come on board or whatever, and like depends how you act, and that reflects on me and all this and that. So yeah, it's different.
That's it. You got to kind of protect that image behind closed doors as well. So it's like, all right, if you want to come along for the ride, you got to understand some conversations that we have at the back, we can't really have at the front. No, that's it. That's definitely something that you would have to, one of those tough conversations that you're going to have with family and things like that. And my question is, how do you manage that in those times where obviously when you're still knocking on the professional to become professional door? Because I myself found that tough, telling family like, I'm trying to make this happen. This is something that I honestly, I'm not even trying to make it happen. I believe this is going to happen, in the next year or two, and you just got to like ride the wave with me. How did you kind of like get around that and have that conversation with family, especially, while you're either working in retail or working a construction job, and understanding this is only temporary. Like this isn't me, and you got to kind of fight your demons on how to show up to work when it's like fuck, all I want to do is go to the gym. All I want to how did you manage that?
I had a really good train of thought.
Sorry.
No, you're right. I think it just kind of comes with a bit, kind of, I guess, certain boundaries or whatever, and I guess it depends on who you're talking about. Like, I'd say like my parents and my partner and people and even my siblings, like people like that are like directly related to me. So it's like they need to be, they're the ones that like, I say, look, I'm not being nasty. I'm actually like, this is just me telling you just like how it is. I'm like, I'm not trying to be hurtful or nasty. That's always what I say. Because I'm not trying, I'm just like, look, the reality of it is that, you know, I'm trying to do something, you know, you need to respect what I'm doing, blah, blah, blah. Like, because, you know, use people know who you are because they know who I am and things like that. So they've always taken it like very well, because I'm not saying like, oh, don't act like this, don't act like that. I'm just saying like, you know, I'm not trying to be nasty, but like, could you not do this, or could you be here, or whatever, like things like that. It's like, because, you know, it's, you know, if you want the best for me and you want to support me, this is the best way to support me. Yeah, and like, yeah, it's some people, you know, they might not take it too well, and that's why you just have to say, look, like, I'm not being harmful, so, you know, I don't want you to take it like that. And if you do, you know, like, like, there's not much you really can do about that at that point. So, yeah, but
that just comes with maturity, I guess. Hey, like,
yeah, and sometimes it depends on the person you're talking to. That like you might not be that confident to like tell your dad or someone like these kind of things, and especially if I was younger, I wouldn't be able to have these conversations. But yeah, like I'm like going into my mid to late 20s now, where it's like, oh, all right, well, this is how it is. Like, you know, I've given up my full-time job. I've moved away from home. I've done all that. Like, you know, I really need you to support me right now in doing this, because this is just like, as you said, it's temporary. Like, I had to ask myself the questions like, how do I want to box anymore? And I've asked myself that question a lot of times, and I'm like, and then I like, one fella I didn't want to be was the bloke that goes, oh, I could have been.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's plenty of them around. There's so many of them around.
All my cousins, all the black fellas that you've ever heard of, they go,
could-haves, the would-haves.
And then they look at TV and they'll be like, oh, I used to chop him out footy.
Yep. Oh, I smoked him.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I used to run rings around him. I'm like, what? But you're not.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like,
yep.
And it wasn't until like I got out of like the team sport and got into an individual sport that I had to take on all the responsibility as like, you know, if we lost as a footy team, we lost as a footy team.
Yeah,
if
I
lose. Like, it's, so, yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So many coulda wouldas, and they just don't understand. They don't understand. Like, all right, you don't know how much this bloke. You know, you don't know how much he probably would have went through to be where he is now.
Yeah.
He probably learnt that business side earlier. You might have chopped him in that one game, but he probably like, smoked you that whole season or something like that.
He might have only just started footy, or, you know, you might have matured a bit earlier and got a growth spurt and things like that. And like, it's not about like who's better at the time. It's like who can be better for longer, and how long can you do that? That's essentially what winning comes down to. It's like, you might lose today, but if you continue to go and someone else gives up, well, then they've actually lost, where you've just learnt.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
You don't lose until you quit. So
it's like that old saying, giving up is guaranteed failure.
100%. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
That's it. And you know, you gotta stick with it. Like, one saying that, you know, has stuck with me forever is, sun's coming up tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like I said before, you could have all the answers, you know, perfect day, training's going well, I'm the strongest I've ever been, sun's coming up tomorrow. Yeah. You could have a shit day, world feels like it's crashing down,
exactly right.
Can't do no right, all this has been for stuff, or sun's coming up tomorrow.
Yeah, that's like, another one that I heard was like, success, the price for success, the rent is due every day. It's not like yesterday's success doesn't count for today. You need to pay it every day, and that's like...
Yeah, that's paid. You got to pay for today. Yeah,
so that doesn't, like... And sports is like the pinnacle of that. Like, you can take it to business and everything else, because you got to continue to work and do whatever else, but like... Yeah, like when it comes to sport, you got to do the ordinary an extraordinary amount of times, like for it to become, you know, something special.
Yep, that's it. Just building bricks.
Yeah, exactly.
Building bricks, and soon you'll have a wall.
Yeah,
That's it.
That's all it is. It's just like the same repetition over and over and over again.
Mastering that. So, what kind of advice would you give to the kids? Like, obviously, there's a lot of kids out there that watch this podcast, and either they might be boxers, they might be footy players, basketballers, athletes. What sort of advice you would give to them, and not only that, so I'll let you answer that. I'll get to the second part.
Yeah, I just always believe like as long as they're trying to chase a passion or even find a passion in life, just go for that, because everything else that may pay the bills or whatever and just get you by and give you a life that someone else wants you to have is all right. And I understand that people get put in that position, but like while you're young, you've got the world at your feet. Like you don't know, like I didn't know where it could take me. Like I had no clue. Never thought I'd get to America. I never ever thought it. And yet I've been there like 3 times now. Like, and my coach, since I was a young kid, he became a father figure to me. He used to show me all the photos of him and his family went to trips in America, and he used to say to me, "Yeah, you'll get there one day." And I didn't believe him. Yeah, like I went to a couple of places, but I never believed it. And then the more and more like these things he used to say to me, it's like, "You'll get there. You'll do that. You'll be there." And I didn't believe it in myself. And as it comes true, which is plans out now, it's like, wow. It's just about sticking to the process, and you just don't know where it can take you. So, and that just came from me continuing to do what I enjoy. Yeah, and I've just been fortunate enough to start to make it to a career.
Yeah. So he just kind of manifested that in you. It just kept like blowing over. Like one day, hopefully, fingers crossed. Now it's like a reality that you've been there 3 times and not actually like visiting like the tourist side of things. That's what a lot of people, I think, from in our point of view, where we get to travel and do what we love, is we don't get like the tourist side. We get to actually see what it's like living there, and training there, and that whole different side of America is like something a lot of people they don't really get to experience, unfortunately. And that's wicked, and that's awesome to have a coach like that to kind of, that's always what do you call it, just dropping dimes on you, like here and there.
He's been an absolute rock in my life, and he came along. It was just like it was all just destiny. He just came into my life at the right time, and things then happened like just not long after, and he was the person that was there, like stood strong, and just I wouldn't have been boxing if it just wasn't for him, because it wasn't that I really loved boxing, is that like I really loved the relationship that me and him had. And he just happened to be my boxing coach, and one way we used to bond was go spar on the weekend. He'd take me to Perth and buy me Subway on the way home and things like that. And as a young blackfellow, someone buy you a feed and look after you, make sure you had food in your belly, and it was right to get home and things like that. You just go far out. This is like uncle, this is dad, pop, whoever it is, and it's just that's how I started to see him. And
Well, that's it with our culture. I mean, with our cultures, that's why our heritage, our ancestors and our elders are very, very much a part of who we are, because when they show us that nurture and that love, and that mutual respect, like they just go straight to your heart. And when you see someone outside of your family, showing you that, they immediately become part of your family. And,
100%.
And part of that circle. And that's just like us as black fellas, as we recognize that love and respect, don't I? No, that's wicked. Two more questions just before we wrap up. First of all, how have you maintained pretty much your culture and your pride throughout your career? Like how have you kind of carried that with you along the way? Because I just seen in the last fight, you did the younger at the end, which was bloody wicked. I'm pretty sure half of Perth had that on their story pretty much the next day. So how have you kind of represented your culture throughout your career?
When I first started traveling out there, going to other first it was like Australia, and I'd be going to other fellas' land, so go and introduce myself, throw some sand in the water, and I'm thinking I don't want to get tormented over.
Yeah, I just don't want to get followed.
That's like Mum was like, you want to go blah blah blah. I was just like, I get over there, I'm like, I'm thinking, where's the sand at?
It's the sand, sweat, everything. Draw a line in the sand, everything.
So it kind of started out like up there, and then like I guess what do you call it? Like the more senior I got in like terms of like in boxing teams and things like that, then like when like NAIDOC and all that there would come up, I'd start, I didn't feel at the time that like I was kind of old enough or whatever to take these kind of positions. And I was like, someone older should be doing this here. But I was the only person, and like I understood that like a lot of my teammates looked at me for like knowledge and education on a lot of these topics, because we're a very small percentage of the Australian population. So like a lot of these fellas probably don't have a close friend or whatever that's a black fella in their life. So I understood like my responsibility to educate them, and just because school didn't do a great job back in the day. So like things like that. And now that like I'm get a bit older, that like I'm trying to get more into the community and understand that I had a lot of people help me out along the way, and I just want to start giving back to all my mob and whatever else I can do.
Yep. No, that's wicked. That's a wicked answer. I guess that kind of touches on my last question: is what legacy do you want to leave? So when it's all said and done, and you can kind of kick back with your feet up and have them cinnamon rolls or eat as much as you want. What's the Alex Winwood legacy that you want to leave? Like,
I'm not sure yet. I feel like I'm just in the first chapter of my story, and boxing is just one chapter of that. Like obviously want to accomplish my goals and become a world champion and do that, but I think the desire deep down inside is to do a lot bigger things than just box. And like I'm starting to get on these paths and roads that I know that where I can end up in life. So I'm just happy to enjoy the journey at the moment, but I definitely want to show that there's a path that it's so, what do you call it, like you hear it all the time. It's like, oh yeah, just go do what you love and blah blah blah. Like it'll work out, and like and I understand like there's a lot of obstacles for especially black fellas. Like you need a lot of family support, and on top of that you need community support and things like that to be able to go pursue these things, because like we don't have like big national sporting organisations that really look after us, say like the other countries like Russia and Cuba and Britain and all that. Like if you start to get on, even just cited as someone who has some bit of talent, they'll take you in and they'll pay for everything, and you'll be trained from like 12 years old up to 18. If you do become something, then you go on and whatever else. But somewhere along the lines to have my own non-for-profit that helps young Indigenous sporting athletes at whatever sport it is, like, because I understand that if I didn't have half the support I did throughout my childhood and early adulthood, I wouldn't be here.
That's it. So just that'll be wicked. I think that's what our community needs as well.
100%.
Especially obviously there's a lot of that around Australia, but especially in Noongar community is having that sort of support and guidance, and especially coming from someone like yourself, an Olympian, international champion. That's something that a lot of Noongar kids can look up to and thrive to do. Because imagine 10, 20 years down the track, someone that you've kind of brought through the ranks and kind of shown the ropes, much like your coach done for you,
Yeah.
Maybe you brought another kid a Subway feed on the way home.
Yeah, exactly.
And then he's gone on to the 2032 Olympics or
Yeah. Like I would love for something, even if it's not my own thing, but like for me to help out, like say like Paddy Mills, like Indigenous Sporting League, things like that. Just like any way that I can feel like I've helped, pay my dues back to and some is what I know I need to do, because it's selfish and unright of me to take and never give back.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Well, yeah, hats off to you for that, because that's a lot of fellas, after they make it, or even in the coming up, it's all me. What can I take? What can I get? And you're already planning on that giving back side of not only the sport but like the community wise. So very much looking forward to that. So when do you reckon you're back in the ring? Was it December?
Yeah, hopefully December. So yeah, definitely cross fingers that is definitely before the end of the year. So yeah, I can't wait.
Is that do you reckon that's gonna be here or
I reckon so. Like we're trying to market myself over in Perth. Like it's where all my mob's from. It's where like I can generate a crowd, things like that. And especially not having a promoter, like it's the only really way like I can make something for myself, unless I get signed by a promotion. But then things might slow down.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Is like if I'm with a promoter, we're not going to be able to have these fights. They're not going to put them on.
Yep. So I guess that's a message to the rest of the Noongar mob out there.
Yeah.
Is the one, promote the fight.
Yeah.
So that we can have it here.
I think like because I live over there now, they all get good fights. They get big public fights and whatever else, and I just think like bringing good fights to Perth. It's it's what's needed. Like we've got like RAC Arena, we've got Optus, like HBF Stadium. We've got.
I was gonna say even the old Challenge Stadium.
Yeah, like there's so many like nice venues over here that it's just a shame that we don't have as much like more sporting events, because we have the facilities, and these facilities are way better than like most of Australia. So I want to bring more and more great fights over here.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's it. Well, let's do it. We're gonna do what we can from now till December, brother. But thank you for coming in. Thank you for coming and having that chat, bro. Definitely appreciate it. Thank you for this donation too. Oh yeah. Oh. And that's it for this episode. So thank you so much for tuning in, whether you are watching us on YouTube or listening to us on Spotify. Make sure you guys already know, like, subscribe, rate 5 stars, all that sort of stuff. You guys go ahead with that, because all that love and that support, that means a lot to us, and that's how we can keep improving the show. Big thank you to Alex for coming and sharing your story with us, brother. It's definitely a huge one, going from Olympics, talking about the setbacks, and keep moving forward. A big testament to you. I hope that this is able to share that inspiration and that motivation with people. And I think if we just inspire and motivate one person to believe that they can do it and chase their dreams, then we're doing our job right, brother. Make sure you follow him on social media, Alex_Winwood, and stay tuned for his next fight. Should be around November, December, maybe even January. Depends how the next couple months goes. And let's get him to number 1. All right, he's going to put in the work. He's going to do it. We all believe that so very much so. So show your support to Alex, please. If you can, get down to the fight. If not, please share it on all your social medias and get around it. Once again, thank you to Jilla for supplying the water to both myself and my guests here. If you have any other suggestions on who else we should get in, we definitely have some big things coming up. Definitely a few A-listers within the next month or two that are booked in, and I can't wait for you guys to hear those episodes too. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one. Yo.